Hello, everyone. Welcome to another power scanning session. It is July 26th. The summer is in full force here in Montreal. My name is Daniel Sinek, and once again today we will be on the lookout for the most interesting swing trading setups for the week ahead. But before we get into it, where are you guys calling in from? Please share your location with us in your Q&A box. Who do we have in the room today? So let's have a look. Yes, Gerd from Germany, from Münsterland. Yes, Coesfeld, if I remember, and it's not near Frankfurt, so I got this wrong in my previous webinar. Lenny from New York City, delightful morning. All right, and he's looking forward to the session. Perfect. Well, Lenny, I hope I'll make it worth your while. Werner from Frankfurt. Okay, I knew there was somebody from Frankfurt. Hey, Werner, good to see you again. Aubrey from obnoxiously hot Cyprus. Oh boy. Yes, I can imagine how hot it can become there. I've been there. When was it? 4 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. It was already very hot back then. It's probably even hotter right now. Kevin from Saskatoon. Hey, Kevin, how's it going over there in the West? I hope you are safe from all these wildfires. Somebody from Wuppertal, Germany. How's it going there? Stefan from Hamburg. Yes, hi, Stefan. Nice to have you on board. Alejandro from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I imagine it's being hot there as well. Martin from Freiburg. Hey, Martin, how are you? Martin is one of our very happy strategy builder user, I hope. Martin, we do have an update for you coming. Maybe you already have received it from Nicholas, but if not, it's going to come very shortly. Edda from North Cyprus. Okay, it might be also obnoxiously hot over there. Maybe a quick weather update from you, Edda. Art from Frederick, Maryland. Hey, Art, how's it going? And Garrett says, yes, it's 300 kilometers north of Frankfurt. Yes. John Fred from Mascouche, Quebec. Comment ça va, Jean Fred? As you know, we are greeting here from Montreal, so it's always nice to have a fellow Quebecer in the room. Thomas from the Black Forest and Frankie and Ina from the North Sea, from Aurich. Awesome. Wow. What a full room once again we have today. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and let's get into it. And as a reminder, of course, today, once again, we will be looking for so-called swing trades. So swing trades are trades which typically last, give or take between 2 and 20 weeks. And the idea is that you will use our dashboard to find these interesting swing trading ideas in just a couple of minutes. We call this the 30 minutes Sunday strategy. I know today is Saturday, of course, but the idea is that, on Sunday after your weekend is winding down, you take a few minutes, you sit down on your PC and you check, hey, what are some of the most interesting setups for the week ahead? And in fact, this is a routine which we are now doing every single day. So every single day after the market closes, we have some news about this too, is that new setups will become available. And every single day, almost without exception, there will be at least one stock which looks very interesting from a technical point of view. So this, has become a routine for us and perhaps also for you already. And if you are interested in, how we are finding these stocks, this webinar today will be exactly what you are looking for. Of course, we are who are we? We are tradingindicators.com. My name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side. And together with Homer, here in the middle, Homer's on vacation right now, together we have created Trading Indicators about 10 years ago. And around 5 years throughout our journey, Niklas has joined us here on the right-hand side. Niklas is in the chat today, and he will be looking out for your questions. So if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Put your questions into the Q&A box along with symbol request. So what we're going to do today is primarily based or rooted in what's called technical analysis. So we're going to analyze the price chart. And in fact, our indicators will analyze the price chart to see if some stocks or ETFs or whatever it may be does have an interesting technical setup. So we like to make our life simple, our trading life simple, and we rely heavily on our technical indicators and on our scanner, which can identify stocks and symbols which currently have an interesting technical setup. And if everything checks out, then we simply execute on those trades. And I shared a couple of trades with you, which we have taken personally in our own portfolio based on these setups. So we're going to have a quick review today, in fact, of these trades, which we personally also engaged in. All right. Then once again, if you guys have any questions, don't be shy. Please put your questions into the Q&A box. All right. So Also, I need to remind you that trading, it doesn't really matter what it is, but trading the futures or FX or stocks or ETFs and really any asset class does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to use risk capital, which is money that you can actually afford to lose. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and setups and strategies discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, so with this out of the way, a couple of housekeeping items before we get into the market. First off, if you don't know about our bootcamp on the Liquidity View dashboard yet, here's the link. It's tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. And why am I mentioning this? Because today, in today's scanning session, we will only use a couple of the features of this dashboard. But there are so many more. And this bootcamp is detailing all these features. So if you want to know what this dashboard is all about, what it could do for you, check out this bootcamp. It's very detailed. And in fact, this is the second iteration of this bootcamp because we had to re-record it because we added new features to it. In fact, so many new features that we actually need to re-record it to cover all these new things that we've added. And in fact, there's going to be a new feature coming out on Monday. If everything goes by plan, it's going to be finalized tomorrow. And on Monday, there will be a new feature available in the dashboard, and it's going to be revealed in our Tuesday Lunch and Learn session. So please look out for this, a bit of a surprise coming your way. Also, if you have not joined our Discord community yet, it's completely free at tradingindicators.com/Discord. In there, you can find fellow traders. You can join our trading community. You can listen to the talk of our community. People are sharing charts and setups. And I think Nicholas has shared a very interesting scalping setup in NASDAQ, I believe. We can talk about this a bit later last week, which was very successful. So this is on our Discord channel, tradingindicators.com/Discord to accept the invitation. Also, what we will be doing today is to interactively scan for interesting setups. It's always best if you would follow along interactively as well. But of course, for this, you will need access to the dashboard. So if you don't have access to the dashboard yet, you can sign up right now completely for free for 1 week at this link here, tradingindicators.com/view. Go there. You can sign up right away. This takes about 1 minute. And once done, you have access to the dashboard and then you can follow along. All right, so this gives you instant access almost. So it will take less than a minute, I promise you. All right. Also, and then we're coming to the end of these housekeeping items. If you don't have our ebook yet, download it from tradingindicators.com/power-of-3. This link will also be in the chat. And this ebook details the main setups that we'll be using today to find interesting swing trading ideas. And last but not least, if you have any ideas about new features, new symbols, or any feedback or suggestions in general, please don't be shy. This is what drives the further development of our dashboard. So please put those into the Q&A box as well, or simply email us. And as I mentioned before, on Monday, we will reveal yet another feature that we've just recently added to our dashboard. So please look out for that. All right, so with this, let's get into it. Let's open up the dashboard and start with our market review. So I'm going to switch over to our dashboard, if I can find it among my many windows open here. And here we go. So I'm going to open up the end of day scanner, and I'm going to start with the SPY. Well, what has happened in the last week? Well, pretty much the same as the week before and the week before. In fact, it is quite boring at the markets right now because, prices, at least in the big indices, are just grinding higher. And when I say boring, I mean this in the most positive way possible. Trading, in fact, should be boring. Trading should not be scary, should not be overly exciting, because this is when the big volatility jumps are happening. If you are a swing trader, and typically what we do is we trade in the long direction, boring is perfect. Boring means prices are bullish, prices are grinding higher. This is exactly, for the most part, what we are looking for. So it's great. Everything is hunky-dory so far, but a bit of a warning. So you can see it here, prices broke above resistance a couple of weeks ago here on June 27, and since then have been grinding higher. almost in a very steady pace. You can see it here, prices are just going higher and higher. But please keep in mind that the air is very thin up here. So meaning that, we are at all-time highs. No question about it. We are overextended. We are far away from our averages. We are far away from our broken resistance level. In my book, the correction is just a matter of time. It will come. Will it come next week? Uh, I'm not sure, perhaps not, but it's about to come. And I am not personally willing to gamble because I don't want to be stuck up here in these very expensive price levels. And then you get stuck in the correction. Not our trading style here at Trading Indicators. What we do is we typically wait for the correction to happen, and then we look for long entry opportunities. So just as a word of advice, of course, I said the exact same thing last week. The air is very thin up here. And then what happened? Price actually were grinding higher. Well, it may happen again, but corrections are a question of when, not of if they are going to happen. And we will at some point go all the way down at the minimum to our first MA rush line here. That's a promise, which will come. And by the way, that's also a reason why I currently are holding long calls in the VIX. And they have a fairly long expiration date, but I am betting or anticipating that it's a question of time until we see a bigger correction, until we see volatility to go up again. So I have 18 calls in the VIX, and maybe just real quick, if I open up the VIX here, what does this mean? Oops. So here the volatility index. You can't trade this index directly, but you can definitely trade futures of this index, and also you can buy options for this index. And what I did is I bought 18 calls. So 18 is quite a ways out of the money. They have an expiration back in October. So quite a bit of time on the clock on purpose, because I paid a bit more to have a longer expiration, but I wanted this market, to take some more, well, to have some time for this correction to come. Now it's a bit more time on the clock, as we say. And the idea is that we will, at some point, at the minimum, that's the way I see it, we will approach this resistance level up here around 22. If we do, these call options will become profitable. And I use them a bit as a hedge. Should we see, volatility spike up, prices typically will go down when this happens. And this is a bit of a hedge I have going right now. So, but this is just a side note. All right, so this was we talked about the SPY. Let's look at the QQQs, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. Pretty much picture perfect the same thing as the SPY. So things are grinding higher in a very steady pace. If I was drawing a trend channel here, or like a little line connecting all these candles, it's basically the same incline of that line throughout, ever since we broke above this resistance level. It's super steady, super boring, but as I mentioned before, boring in this context is really, really good. This is what we want to see. We want prices to continue going in the long direction, especially for the setups that we are trading here in these setups and these scanning sessions, which are typically to the long side. So picture perfect, the same thing. Also, would I buy right now up here? Probably not. Would I short it? Of course not either. Yeah, I would just wait. I would stay on the sidelines. And sometimes, staying on the sidelines is the best trade advice that you can get. I will patiently wait for prices to come down, and then I will engage. And let me show you an example of where patiently waiting has paid out handsomely. Actually, in fact, let me just hide something real quick on this indicator here. It's going to hide these levels. I'm going to enable them later on again. There we go. Okay, so this was the QQQ, but now let's look at gold, the GLD, the gold ETF. What is happening right now? Well, first off, I told you about, when was it? Maybe it was last week, maybe the week before. I think it was last week. Yes, it has to be. That I sold on a Thursday my calls in gold. So we bought the calls down here. This was our trade. Was it here? I forget when it was, but I think around these levels here. This was I think it was here, our trade of the week. So we had a trade out there, go long gold. And we played this with the GLD ETF. When prices came down all the way here, and guess what this was? It was a correction. This is exactly the moment of time where you want to go long. And I'm waiting for exactly this in the SPY and the QQQ, a correction to at least the first MA rush level. You can see it here. This was the time for me to pull the trigger. We bought some calls down here and I sold them right on this day. So my price, of course, went a bit higher afterwards. But why did I sell them here? Well, because I had my liquidity IQ indicator on the chart and I looked up and what did I see up here? A key resistance level. You can see it here. This is a resistance zone. We printed this level back down here. So we knew about this. And I did not want to give back my profits on the balance. And look what has happened afterwards. Prices wicked into this level. Yeah, we had a liquidity capture event right here and then a huge retracement of a couple of gaps down here. Yeah, so a great idea to sell it here. Of course, I didn't time it perfectly, but it doesn't matter. The calls were in profit. I was happy with that. Sold them, closed up my trade, and now prices are trading significantly lower. And I am waiting now, personally, for prices to come down in GLD, come down all the way to this level here, at the minimum, to this first MA rush line. Oops. Maybe even a bit closer. Maybe I'm going to scale in at this level, which would be a great entry level here. Rinse repeat basically of what has happened many times in the past. Prices come down to this first MA rush line. If you believe in these patterns, it came down here, bounce, came down here, bounce, came down here, bounce, came here, we bounce, came here. Now I'm waiting one more time for prices to come down to this level. And I think at this point, I might consider buying calls again, or maybe investing outright. But I think buying calls is probably the way to go in this case, because I'm not oblivious of the fact that people are talking that, hey, gold has been going up for such a long time. Maybe it's time for a deeper correction. And when I say deeper correction, we go all the way down to this level here. Of course, I don't want to be exposed to this if this happens. So I think buying calls in a symbol which has relatively low volatility. You can see prices are candles are small. You can see it here. Calls will be reasonably well priced. So I think this might be the play once again if prices come down here, buying calls and betting once again that we're going to see a rinse and repeat. Prices come down to this line, will bounce off again. So let's see what happens next week. But this is definitely an interesting symbol to look at. All right, so moving on. Oil. Let's look at the United States Oil Fund. USO. What do we see here? All right. Okay. So, yes. So prices came down quite a bit from these this very strong resistance level on top at 83. We discussed this in length. In fact, this was also one of our trades of the week here up there. We've discussed it in this very session back in at the end of June. If you want to see the recording, check out our YouTube channel. We called it out. We saw prices coming up to this level. We saw a bunch of liquidity captures and we said, hey, maybe it's time to consider puts on oil, anticipating that we will see a bounce of this level. It has happened. Huge bounce to the downside. Now oil is consolidating. Now it's ranging basically in between this resistance level up here, this intermediate resistance level here at 78 and down here at 73. And to me, and I called this out this morning, this to me looks like a bear flag. So let me just show you what I mean by this. I'm going to go to my drawing tool right here, if I can find it. There we go. And I'm the worst drawer when it comes to these things. That's why in art, back in school, I always had the worst grades. I was good at math, but in drawing, never. Let's make this really thick here. This is like the flag post. And then we have a bear flag, something like this. So it looks like a bear flag to me. If we, and of course, it's a big if, we don't know if this will happen, but if we break the lower end of this flag here, then I think we're going to see an acceleration to the downside and perhaps one more time testing this very important 63 level down here. If we come down here, if we see liquidity capture, maybe one more time, we're going to go long oil, anticipating that this sideways channel, which we've been stuck in, look at this, for so many years now, that this sideways channel will continue. So let's see what happens. I think if you lose this level here if you lose 72, I think we're going to see an acceleration to the downside. But of course, we have to see what the market decides to do. All right, so that was USO. What else do we typically discuss? What about Bitcoin? What about Bitcoin? Talking about flag. So this was a bear flag. In Bitcoin, we have the opposite. We do have a bull flag. And, once again, don't be disturbed by my very ugly drawing here. In fact, let me draw this a little bit nicer. You can see it here. We had once again, oops, the flag post. I hope it remembered the color. Yeah, it did. Come on. Yeah, it's like the flag is like this. It's like a bull flag in this case. Prices went up a lot. Here's the flag post, and things have been rangy since then. And I think if we manage, or if Bitcoin manages to lose this level here to the upside, the 123,000 level, we're going to see another acceleration to the upside in Bitcoin. But of course, we have to wait and see. So these flag patterns, they tend to be quite tedious to resolve. So this may continue for quite some time. And if you look at the live markets right now, where's Bitcoin right now? Yeah, we're right in the midst of it at 118,000 right now. It's just about this level here, right in the middle of this flag. If we lose it to the upside, I think we're going to see an acceleration. That's my call on Bitcoin. All right. With this, we're slowly going to move into finding the new setups for the week ahead. But I want to do something of a retrospective first. So what were our calls in the last couple of weeks? And how did these work out? Because it's always nice to, to learn from the past and see what has worked, what perhaps has not worked so well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up our watch list, and you should, up here, you should have access to these three watch lists here as well, to the one from July 5th, the one from July 13, and the one from July 19. If you don't see these watch lists, please put a note into the question box if you don't see it. But this is now a shared watch list. You can see it here. I have this little box here which allows me to share a watch list. That's an admin only feature. I can share these watch lists with you, and in your account you should be able to see this watch list, and yeah, you can see what's in this watch list. What are these symbols in there? But you cannot edit this watch list. That's a read-only watch list for you. So let's have a quick look. Let's see what we called on July 5th. All right, so we had Arthur J. Gallagher. That's a quick review. And of course, oops, let's take my drawings away just a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, Arthur J. Gallagher. We can see it here. Yeah, it went all the way down to this key support level. It's still right there, but I think now there are signs that we're going to see a bounce off this level. So this one is looking promising. We had Coca-Cola consolidated. All right. So what great move here. We called a long bounce on Coca-Cola consolidated. You can see it here. When it approached down this key level, and what a nice move towards the middle in between support and resistance we've seen since then. So that worked out nicely. Marsh and McLennan. I have to say something here. So, sometimes, it's always good to get positive confirmation of what we call during the session, of course. So what we said, and maybe you remember, and I think we've said it for a couple of weeks now, which was something like this. If we have, like in this case here, if we have two support levels, which are fairly near to each other, like this one up here at 209, give or take, this red line here, and another one just below this at 207. So that's fairly close together. Would you agree? If this is the case, what do I always say? I say that in my view, in my experience, typically it's the second level, which is the more powerful one. And I explicitly said last week, if you are considering a long position in MMC, make sure to put your stop loss below the second level. What has happened? Well, we lost the first level, prices came down towards the second one, and then prices recovered. This is exactly why we said this. So if you have this kind of situation with two consecutive levels next to each other, vertically speaking, then typically it's the lower one, which is more powerful. So yeah, how does it look? Well, it seems to, we'll see what's going to happen. We're pretty much still in this area here, but I think there are first signs that we may see a recovery of this deep correction here in Marsh and McLennan. Post holdings, what's going on here? That one also was a nice bounce setup, which is unfolding as we speak. RRC, that one, yeah, in fact, we didn't really call this one out because we didn't have a trade note here, but here we lost the level. So the bounce level was lost, but prices are coming back up now, but still we lost the level. Republic Services, I sold my short puts on this one just recently. Maybe too early, but did I sell them? Oh, maybe no, I did not. I sold my short puts on on some other symbols. I believe I still have it. I forget. I should look at my portfolio. In fact, the idea here was, okay, we are coming off this key support level. This is a stock which probably has one of the most steady uptrends I've ever seen. It's a monster of a stock, trending very steadily, and every correction all the time has been bought up. And in fact, if you look at our trend radar indicator, let me put this on. I'm not sure why it wasn't on the chart. We can see that every level 4 correction in recent history, all the way back here until the steeper correction in 2023, every level 4 correction here, 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 and so forth and so forth. Every single one has been quickly bought up. And exactly this is what seems to be happening right now here in RSG. It's a super interesting stock. So this one is panning out just right. Okay, new scale. Wow, what a stock that was. That was one of probably our best calls that we made. Long break retrace at the time. So we broke above resistance, came up down to this level to our entry zone. Look what happened afterwards. It really blew off from this level. Perfect technical setup. I was a bit careful because it's a setup, it's a symbol which is bigger volatility. You can see here trend radar oftentimes goes to all red. A few times we didn't stop at level 4. So it's a bit more volatile, it was a bit more risky, but this one has paid out handsomely. And last one, waste management on that day. Also, this one is finally panning out of the support level now, testing this intermediate resistance right here. All right, so that was on the 5th, and let me just speed up a little bit. Aflac Incorporated, that's a symbol we called out also a few times. It also was our trade of the week. Yeah, we see a bit of a bounce unfolding right now. So this is moving nicely. AGG we did. Banco Bilbao, that's one of the South American stocks that already, in fact, I think he told me it's a Spanish stock, whatever it is stuck with a great zone break retrace setup, finally unfolding. And we called it out. We called out this gap fill. Look at this. That was our thinking. We may bounce off this level to fill this gap. It's not completely filled yet, but I think it's an almost certainty that this gap will be filled on next week. I would bet some money on that fact that we're going to go a little bit higher. How much higher? I don't know, but I think this gap for sure we'll see. All right, working out nicely. German telecommunication. Great bounce also of support here. Now in the middle, in between support and resistance. Esquire Financial Holdings. Yeah, here we didn't get our fill. The idea was, okay, zone break retrace, we'll wait. We didn't get our fill, but prices are coming down again, so maybe we're going to get a second chance to go long here. Fair East Corporation, pretty much nothing has happened there. Prices are still around support. JPM, JP Morgan, here I sold my puts for sure. Too early as it turns out, but they were very much in profit. And, you know, with short puts, you want to sell them when they get to 50, 60% off profit because they're capped anyways. You can only earn as much as you collected for the premium. So I got rid of them. Prices are higher now, but yeah, a zone break retrace which worked out nicely here for JP Morgan. And last week, and then we're going to move for the new setups. What did we have? We have Arthur G. Gallagher, as we said, working out nicely. Coca-Cola consolidated, looking pretty good as well. You see it here, get our nice bounce. We didn't get our fill. So here we were waiting for prices to come down to this level. We didn't get it. In fact, prices are now trading much higher. But at least our original idea panned out nicely. CrowdStrike Holdings. Yeah, also here. Nice zone break retraced. And here we're still waiting for prices to really accelerate off this zone break retrace setup. You can see it here. We broke above resistance, came up down to the broken resistance level, now acting as support, and we may see another leg higher here. German communication we discussed, FICO we discussed, and one last, World Acceptance Corporation. That one, we lost our zone break retrace setup. We came down to these, in fact, you know, one more time, back to my original thesis. Again, I don't have any statistical data about this, but once again, also here, we had two levels. We had a zone break up here at 162, and then a zone break here at 149. It's the second level which is holding up, and then we see the bounce here. So if you have two nearby levels, typically it's the lower one which has more significance. All right, so far so good. This is pretty much of a success story so far for the last 3 weeks. Let's see if we can find some new setups for the week ahead. And before we do, Niklas, do we have any questions right now at this point?
Let me double check. We have a recommendation, a feature request from Stefan. He says it'd be useful to search for more than one symbol at once. Example, in the entry search in the search field, the symbol filter could be QQQ, SPY, GLD.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Maybe
okay.
a space or something. Something like this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
And a question from Lenny, is a correction always a downturn, or can there be a sideways consolidation to allow the averages to catch up to price? Is there historical precedence to this?
Oh yeah, corrections can happen in all kinds of markets. So they can happen in an upturn where prices go up and then come down initially. They can happen in sideways markets. Best example is United States, USO, the United States Oil Fund. You can see it here. That's pretty much a sideways symbol. Um, and we have, I wouldn't call them corrections here. I call them bounces, bounces off these key levels. Uh, so here, I mean, a correction typically is associated with a trend. So you have a trending stock, then eventually the trend takes a pause. And that's what technicians call a correction. So prices, retrace a little bit in that uptrend, they come down. Here in a sideways market like this, I call them bounces, just bouncing off the range, either the upper range or the lower range. But again, how you call them, it's not so important. As in trading, who cares about the actual terminology? As long as you're right with the future price move, that all matters. All right. Okay. Any other questions?
Yep. Two more. One question, a couple questions. One of them is asking about three green lines on the chart, so that could be resistance or the levels. But
Yeah.
please, we put a link in the chat, linking to a boot camp which explains every single thing you see in detail.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
check out the boot camp. So these lines are drawn by our MA rush indicator. It's this one up here, MA rush. If I hide this, see the lines are gone. If I put this back on, the lines are there. And oftentimes, and you have to really feel the symbol, right? So here, I look at historical precedents. You can see prices are coming down to this first line here, 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 and here. It looks like a pattern to me. And I like to, just do rinse and repeat until it doesn't work anymore. So right now, my viewpoint is, okay, we're going to come down perhaps one more time to this level, and then we'll just do the same thing, buy some calls. And I always diversify. I would never put all my investment into this move, but I put a small amount into it. You know, if you do this more often, you can see that you can accumulate. So we'll do this again here, buy some calls. I like the fact that it coincides with this support level down here as well. And I like the fact that we have some gaps up there. So same thing, buy some calls, and then I will anticipate that price are once again going to go all the way up to this level. From 303 to 314. That's not too bad for gold. That's a very slow moving symbol. Yeah.
thanks, Daniel. Last question on Bitcoin. There's a big red flag a big red bar that came in the bull flag that's outside of it, apparently. Could you please comment on that?
Well, it's depending how you draw it. Yeah, but I agree. My bull flag from just hide Emmy Rush a little bit. It's such an ugly flag, but my bull flag from last week was exactly here. Now we wicked below and then we came up. To me, it's not a deal breaker. We're still pretty much in the neighborhood. And the fact that we just wicked down and recovered right away, to me, again, that's my viewpoint. I might be wrong. To me, it still keeps the pattern intact. As long as we don't close below it. And, it's still pretty sideways. Just if you gauge a little bit with your eye, it's sideways. It's a classic flag pattern. And if we break above this level, I think we're going to see an acceleration. If we really completely break it, I think we're going to come down to this level. And then this could be an interesting entry opportunity in Bitcoin.
Thank you, Daniel. That's the last question. And yes, David, it is basically does only work on the daily. There is live charts you can look at, but the scanning capabilities, it's designed for swing traders and longer term traders.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect. All right, moving on. So, well, now let's look for some setups, which oftentimes will have a high reward to low risk ratio. What we're going to do is we're going to use a process. So we're going to look at one setup at a time. Based on what we see, we're going to create a hot list, and then we're going to do some detailed analysis on these symbols in our hot list. So, the first setup we're going to look at is a combination of things. In fact, it's first of all, it's a stock which are stocks basically which have been trending up for a long time. This has always been one of our key criteria. The trend is your friend for a reason. Some people say, okay, the longer a trend continues, the bigger the chance it will reverse. We don't share the same view. I think trends can continue for a long, long time, longer than you expect. So always I would be betting on the fact that a trend will continue other than reversing. That's fact number one. But within a trend trade or for a trending symbol, there are good times to enter and there are bad times to enter. So a bad time would be to enter all the way up here. That's also my fear right now of the SPY, which is basically a point in time where we're all the way up here. We are super extended. We're far away from our averages. There's no sign of a pullback. So you can look, oh, sorry. If we go back to our dashboard, just real quick for the SPY, what do we see right now on the IQ chart? Oops, so why is this so zoomed in? Doesn't matter. So here, if we bring this back, what do we see? I mean, I see trend radar down here completely green. Every correction was completely minor. And in recent history, the only level 1 correction was here in July 15. And this was super shallow. It's just going into one direction. This is not where I want to go long. I want to go long when something like this happens, or at least the level 4 correction. That's a much better time. So I'm personally waiting for this to happen until we see a level 3 or level 4 correction in this symbol, and then I would consider a long trade. Let me just quickly see what gold is doing right now in terms of trend radar. What kind of correction we have? A level 3. Is it level 3 or level 4? Even level 3 correction in gold. You can see it here, pullback 3. That's a level 3 correction. That's where I get interested. And maybe even going to see a level 4. This is when we entered into our calls last time. That's what we want to see. Versus to come down all the way to level 4. So I have one more level to go in gold, and then I'm getting really interested. I would bet on the fact, okay, prices may retrace once again or recover from this correction, and the overarching trend will resume. All right, so we want to wait for these pullbacks to happen. And ideally, we also, but that's like the trifecta, also, we want this correction to coincide with a key support level, because then the bounce trade in a long-term uptrend. So how can we find these trades? Well, let me go back to our dashboard. There we go. I'm clean out our scanner, and we can see we're scanning through 5,081 stocks. And the first scan we're gonna do, let me just quickly hide some stuff on the scanner to not confuse everyone. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use our MA Rush column here. So MA Rush is based on this indicator here, the one that colors the charts, and also prints, more importantly than coloring them, it prints these bull or bear labels onto the chart. We will use this as an indication whether this symbol or a particular symbol is currently trending downwards or trending upwards. In fact, today we will only consider stocks which are trending upwards because we are, perpetually bullish in the stock market. So what we're going to do is we're going to use MA Rush here and select bullish. Once I do this, we can see of our 5,000 stocks, 2,400 are currently bullish. And by this number next to it, I can also see that for how many days we've been bullish. So a symbol like this, ATA Creativity Global, whatever that is, this symbol just recently went bullish. You can see it here a couple of bars ago, 4 bars ago to be precise. This symbol here, or ABV, let's see, ABV, ABBV, went bullish 394 bars ago. You can see it here. Now, if you count the candles, you will get to exactly 394. So this indication right next to it shows you the trend length. And what I typically do is I like to sort by symbols which have been bullish the longest. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is I want to see stocks which are currently near a support level. So what I will do here is I will go to Liquidity IQ setup and I will select long bounce. So long bounce means we are bouncing off to the long side. This can only happen when we are near a support level. So I click on it, and now I have my hot list. You can see it here. Now we have Arthur J. Gallagher, Marshall McLennan, Waste Connection, Genia Energy. So we already discussed these 3 of them. And in fact, of these first 3, I think, in my view at least, Arthur J. Gallagher is the most interesting one, because here we have a stock which has the smoothest uptrend. It's super smooth. Look at this. I mean, it's just a thing of beauty. We have a bigger correction right here. I think this could be a very interesting long idea. Again, if you're not into the stock yet because we called it out many times before. Price doesn't really move much. But if you sold puts on this one, at least you had time decay. Your puts would have lost value and you would have, gained something out of this. So let's add this stock to our watch list. I'm going to create a new watch list down here, create setups, colon 2025 0726, and create it. I will then, first of all, share this watch list with you. So I'm going to click this little button here. And actually, let me ask you a question, guys. How many historical watch lists would you like to see? I'm thinking the last 3, or maybe the last 5. So maybe put a number in there. I don't want to share all my watch lists. It's going to clutter your account. But I'm thinking the last 3, maybe the last 5. So maybe put a number in there of how many historical watch lists you would like to see. David says 5. Okay. All right. So I'll keep it here for now. Maybe if you guys have some other opinions, Stefan means 3 is enough. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make a call afterwards. I'm gonna think about it. See who else we have. Steven says 5. 3 is enough. All right. Seems like a tiebreaker here. 3 or 5. Oh, boy, we're really in the middle, huh? Etta says 3. Okay, we'll see. I'll make a call afterwards. I'm not going to make a decision right now. Let me think about it, but it seems to be either 3 or 5 is a good number. Yeah, we have 2 more 5s here. Okay. All right. Perfect. Moving on. Okay, so this was Arthur J. Gallagher. So we're going to add this symbol to this watch list. There we go. Marsh and McLennan. I like it too. If you don't have it yet, I mean, we're going to keep it on our watch list. The second line of support is now in play. You can see it here right there. I think it's a good stock. It's a bit more volatile too volatile for my taste. I think we really entered a sideways consolidation here. But even in these consolidation phases, I think there are profits to be made. So let's add this one as well. So Marsh and McLennan as well. Just keep in mind, guys, that these 2 stocks, AGG and MMC, they are in the exact same field, exact same industry. So if you look at this one here, they're both in financial services as a sector and in insurance brokerage as the industry. Just keep this in mind. Only trade one or the other. They are very similar and from a technical point of view, which is further evidenced by the fact that both are in an uptrend for almost the exact same duration. It's not a coincidence because they are pretty much in the exact same field. All right. So Waste Connections, WCN. Yeah. I'm going to skip this one, I believe. Let me just quickly see why I said that. Yeah, we're coming off this level here. I just, I don't trust this support level that much. It was broken previously. I'm happy we're coming up again because we called the stock when it was down here. But I just don't trust this level too much. So this one, I'm going to stay on the sidelines for today. I think this support level here does not have the greater significance anymore after it was, broken previously. All right, LNG. All right, so LNG was our trade of the day was it on Tuesday? I think it was on Tuesday. I sold some puts on Monday, I believe. Yeah, on Monday. I sold them when we had, so we had this big down bar here. That was Friday. And then Monday, oh no, was it here? Oh no, on Tuesday, it was on Tuesday. Yeah, so Monday we came down all the way till here. Then Tuesday, we're here. I sold some puts around this level. Prices came further down, but then they recovered nicely. And I think it can be an interesting stock. So this level technically was broken, but we're still in the vicinity. So I still like this one for a long trade. It's quite a volatile stock, but it's in a long-term uptrend. So the stock is just grinding higher. And I'm going to keep my puts here. They're pretty much at break even right now in this level. And the puts I sold here, by the way, were at the money puts. So I sold them, I think, I forgot what it was, so maybe $10 or like $1,000. I clicked on the premium. They were at the money. They're around delta 50 puts, which means, and the put level was, I think, at 224 something, the strike price. That means at this level, the entire premium, because you're selling it at the money, the entire premium is time value, time and volatility value. So if this stock, manages to stay in this level and maybe trade even a bit higher, these puts will lose value very quickly, I believe. So they have, and we have the time decay in our favor to the August of 21st puts or something. So for every day passing by, the time value will decay a bit more. All right, so I'm going to add this one as well to our list. All right, next one is post holdings. Let's have a quick look. All right. Yeah, also here another example of why the second level of support, if they're next to each other, is, or the lowest level, I should say, is the most significant one. We bounced at this level. Now we're trading higher. I'm going to stay on the sidelines right now. We already had a bit of a move. I would not be surprised if this intermediate level here doesn't have any effect at all, and we may come down all the way to this level once again. So for now, I'm going to stay on the sidelines of this one. This currency symbol we're going to skip. We're going to go to a German symbol. Oh, we have some Germans in the room today. A really interesting one if you're capable of trading this potentially. It's a beautiful setup. You can see it here. A very bullish stock as the German stock exchange here. And prices made all-time highs back here in May 2025. And then a correction, a sizable correction towards this key support level. And if prices are coming down a little bit further, maybe down to this level here, this could be a very interesting long entry opportunity. So I'm going to wait for this to happen. If this happens, yeah, this may as well be a trade for our portfolio. I'm going to add this one as well. All right, FICO, nothing has happened there. I don't like the fact that we are completely flat after this big move down. It's kind of suspicious, you know, as who said it? Somebody talked about a bear. Lenny said maybe this might be even a bear flag, and we had something similar in Arthur J. Gallagher. Yeah, a big move down, and now the consolidation here. If you use this one as the flag post here, and then this is the flag here, we may see another leg further down. I agree. It looks a bit scary, so I'm going to stay on the sidelines for now for this particular symbol. I don't like the fact that we're just hanging out in this area around support. And I want to do one more. Yes, this one down here. I'm going to skip a couple of ones. SAP. So you may know SAP. It's a big software company out of Germany, and it has a very interesting technical setup. First of all, it's bullish for quite some time, more than 500 trading days. Currently coming off the all-time highs here back in July, and now trading after this gap. This gap is going to come and play in a second. Now trading right at this key support level with a liquidity capture and a level 4 pullback on our trend radar. I like this symbol for a long trade, and this could as well be our trade of the week for Monday. So beautiful stock, nice consistent uptrend, currently correcting down to this key level, and there's a gap to fill. So lots of things are coming together here, especially this gap fill down here, which we'll be looking at. So yeah, interesting long setup. Of course, I'm also seeing this gap down here. You can see it here. There is a gap, I know. And the pessimists among you may say, okay, we're probably going to fill this gap at some point too. Perhaps, but for now, especially with this setup, with being right at this key support level, I think it's more likely we're going to fill this gap first. Then maybe later on, there will be a deeper correction. So I like this one. I'm going to add this one to our watch list. All right, and perhaps one last here. Harmony Gold Mining Company Limited. Yeah, not my favorite setup. Big move up here. Now we're just also, yeah, just hanging out for a long time near the support level. Even though, you know, since this bigger correction here, we have not went lower than a level 4 correction on trend radar. Yeah, and there's a bit of a gap here. Yeah, I think we're going to stay on the sidelines for this one here. If I will trade gold, it's probably going to be a GLD trade and not this particular symbol. All right. Any questions so far, Niklas, for our long bounce setups?
No, not here.
Okay. Perfect. Let's just move on.
Oh, sorry, we have one here. What's the difference between long bounce 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, or 17 or whatever it might be. This number is the number of trading days this stock has been in this setup. So, for example, let's go up here. Waste Connections Inc. has been a long bounce setup for just one trading day. Let's check it out. Yeah. So the way it worked, we came above, and I don't like this setup that much. We came above this this support level, and then That was on Thursday. And on Friday, we came back down. And this brought price in the vicinity because we were up here at close. Then we came down. Now we're once again in the proximity of this support level. And this brought the stock into this long bound setup once again. It was out of it the day before, and then it came back in. This is why there's a 1 here. If you look at FICO, now 13 days. And consider here how many little bars we have right at this support level. So this is what this number indicates. It's basically the freshness of the setup. Well, this one here, 13 or 17 trading days. EPAC. I see lots of bars here right at this support level. So this is what this number means.
Okay, thanks, Daniel. We'll get to the other questions later.
Okay, perfect. All right. Now let's move on. The next setup I'd like to discuss is what we call the zone break and the zone break retrace setup. So as mentioned before, of course, at some point in time, everything will break. Every support zone will be broken eventually. Every resistance level will be broken eventually, well, most likely for most symbols. But if this happens, new opportunities for us arise as well. So in this case, we could trade the breakout trade. We could bet on the fact, okay, if we see a zone break, like in this case, a support zone break to the downside, then prices will continue in the breakout direction for quite some time. So you can see it here. You can trade accordingly. Or to the long side, and if resistance is broken, this green line here, prices will then continue in the direction of the breakout for quite some time. But with one caveat, oftentimes it is the case that prices will, before continuing, first come back to the broken level. We call this the market fake out. So prices initially go up, you can see it here, but then they stop and they come back down to the broken level, down to the broken resistance level, which is now acting as support. And then this oftentimes is a launch pad for another leg higher up. So how can we scan for these setups? All right, so once again, back to our dashboard. I'm going to clean out our filters here. And I will select long break retrace. And don't be surprised when you only see a few stocks remaining of our 5,081 stocks. I'm going to click on it. And we have only 17 stocks, wow, which survived this very stringent scanning process here. And if we now sort once again from longest uptrending stock to lowest, we can see, oh, interesting, Airbus. Airbus is the first one. Let me just quickly see something real quick. I want to see where is Airbus being traded. Yeah, so we have Airbus.pa, the one Airbus being traded on the Paris Stock Exchange, and then in Germany as well. This is this symbol here. So it doesn't matter. Let's pick this one here. The market cap is the same of both. Prices will be pretty much the same. We can see it here. Okay, Airbus. We went above resistance back here in July 2025, came up a little bit, and now a little bit back down with a bit of a gap here. Yeah, potentially a long entry opportunity. I personally would not trade it. Airbus is just a bit too volatile for my taste. Can see it here. It's just huge swings. And especially going long at the upper end of these, more way sideways swings is probably not my cup of tea. So I'm going to stay on the sidelines. Should we come down at some point, maybe in a couple of months or years down to this level here, I'll be much more inclined to use, to go bullish here, but right up here at the upper end of the swing. And, lots of trading is about, finding out what's the rhythm of the market. Yeah, how these swings, when would there be a good chance to enter long or short? Up here, it feels to me, I mean, I might be completely wrong, but if I look at the swing pattern here, up, down, up, down, up, and this seems to be like the beginning of a downswing again. So I'm going to stay away from this symbol, even though technically speaking, it's a zone break retrace setup. Here we have also for Airbus, and we have Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is coming down to in the proximity to its resistance level here. Well, not super close, but Bitcoin has been so volatile. Even up here, it's considered to be nearby because these candles are so huge in the past, and proximity is measured by ATR, by average true range. So we are somewhat near this resistance level, but I would wait. I would, for a long position, either wait until we break this level. That could be an interesting long, because then we have blue skies ahead, or we come down all the way to perhaps 113 and then enter into the long direction. So here I would wait a little bit further. And then perhaps one more, Carnival Corporation and PLC. What do you see here? Yeah, also, oh, it's an interesting stock actually. Big swing here with the tariffs, like every other stock, but then a quick recovery. Some big swings in here. I'm also going to stay on the sidelines for this one. We're just too far away from our averages here. You can see it here. So even though I really like the long break retrace setup, I think here we're too extended, and we have this gap here, which scares me a little bit. So also here, I'm going to stay on these sidelines. All right, but let's look at some stocks where we currently just see the initial zone break. So not the retrace, but the initial zone break. How can we find these ones? So once again, I'm going to clear my filters. And here in Liquidity IQ setup, I'm going to look for a filter called long break. Once I click on this, you will see stocks which are currently trading above the resistance level. So for example, this one here, DFAI has broken above its resistance level 58 days ago. If you go back here, if you count the candles all the way to this breakout arrow here, that's 58. Look at this nice follow through we had afterwards. So what we want to find are stocks which currently, just recently, had this breakout. How can we find those? Well, we can simply go to our second filter here. So long break is enabled. I'm going to go down here to current on the bars ago. So the last bar should have seen this breakout. I click on it. We're down to 24 stocks. And then I'm going to put my trend filter on it too. I only want to see bullish stocks. And I sort from highest to lowest. And the first one that comes up is a good old friend of ours, O'Reilly Automotive. Perhaps some of you will remember this stock. We've called it out back here in, when was it? This was on March 8th. We called out the stock for a potential long entry. Back then, this was before the stock split. The stock was 1,319. Of course, we did have a stock split afterwards. So right now, prices are much, much lower. It was a 15-to-1 split, in fact, for O'Reilly. But back here in March, look where prices were. Down here, March. This is where we entered or recommended a long position, and look at how this would have panned out afterwards. What a great move it was. Not sure if anybody followed this advice, but this was a very interesting setup back then. Back then, it was a bounce setup. Right now, O'Reilly is breaking above its resistance level. You can see it here. It came down a little bit on Friday, but I do see this one perhaps as another leg further upwards. Especially if you're coming down perhaps to 95, maybe then you can, scale into a small long position here in the anticipation that we're going to see now an acceleration to the upside after resistance is broken here. So we're going to keep an eye on this stock on our watch list. All right. What else do we have? Invesco Industrials S&P US Select. Yeah, this is a strange stock I'm not going to touch. I guess it follows, maybe it's a leveraged ETF that follows the S&Ps. Yeah, probably something like this. If I trade the S&Ps, I will trade them on the SPY, and definitely not at price levels like this where we are so far away from our averages. So I'm going to skip this one. Perhaps one more. Fix Comfort Systems USA. You can see it here. Ooh, huge gap up. Yeah, nothing that we're going to touch right now. Here, it could be interesting to see if we actually coming down to this level. And maybe then this could be an interesting entry. But entering right now all the way extended up here, probably too risky. But if you come down, if we close this gap, maybe then this could be an interesting long opportunity, but we're quite far away from this one. All right. Great. Okay. That's so I think these are some interesting setups which we found. I want to do one more thing real quick, which is a setup which is similar to a pullback setup, but we don't require the stock to pull back all the way to a support level. We just want to see a pullback of the highs. How can we find this one? Well, this setup is called a magnet zone setup. Just real quick, and then we're going to look at our the symbol request. So magnet zone here. And the magnet zone, for all those who are not familiar, is a situation where prices are more or less in the middle, in between support and resistance. Something like this one here. You can see magnet zone 17. Since 17 bars, we've been in the middle for these in between these two symbols here. Okay, so that's a magnet zone. And I like to find stocks where we currently are coming off resistance, We pulled back and we are nearish the lower end, but just not as a bounce setup, just near this lower end. How can we find this? Well, first of all, I'm going to specialize on bullish stocks. You can see it here. So I'm only going to select bullish stocks, which are currently in the magnet zone. We have 480 stocks. And then I do something really cool. I will enable an additional column here. You can see it. This one here is called long RR, long reward to risk ratio. You can see it here. There's certain values here. Let me just give you an extreme. Mueller Industries in a magnet zone, but a reward to risk ratio of only 0.34, which basically means I don't even have to check out this entire chart, which basically means we are closer to resistance above than what we are to support below. If I just zoom in here, we can clearly see this price is actually closer to resistance than it is to support. This is not where I want to enter. I want to enter when price is actually further down here, because then my reward to risk ratio is much better, because my stop loss would be somewhere below here, and my target would be somewhere below resistance. So how can I find these? Well, I put a filter on. See, maybe at least a reward to risk ratio of greater than 1. We're down to 47 stocks. And now, for example, what you see here, and is well, we have the German telecommunication. We discussed this a lot. Currently in the magnet zone in between, but closer to this support level. I wouldn't go long right now. We have this gap here, which scares me a little bit. So we're going to skip this one. Coca-Cola consolidated. Also in the magnet zone. Yeah, definitely an interesting symbol here. But I would wait for price to come down, in fact, to this level. I think it's going to be tested one more time. But the third one is Sprouts Farmers Markets, a symbol which we had as our trade of the day quite a while back. It worked out beautifully when we came off support down here. But now prices are coming down once again towards the support level here. I'm not sure we're going to actually go all the way to it. But I think, since this is a monster of a stock, it's super, super bullish. Even right now, this could be an interesting entry opportunity to enter long into with the anticipation that this long upwards trend, which has been taking place for 1,098 trading days, is going to continue. So I'm going to add this one as well to our list as a magnet zone trade. All right. So this was basically a round trip of the symbols which look interesting for next week. Let's just have a quick look at the ones which are the most interesting ones. So I'm going to go back to our watch list here. We have 7 stocks to watch. Let's start with them. Arthur J. Gallagher. I like it. Definitely an interesting long opportunity here. So, and if I had to make the choice between Arthur J. Gallagher and Marsh & McLennan, I would pick Arthur J. Gallagher. So I'm going to add this one as a trade note right now. Not much has changed since the 13th. That's 2 weeks ago. Our prices were exactly there. We're a bit higher now, but I'm going to add it one more time as a trade note to with today's price point. All right. So we're going to skip MMC because I think Arthur J. Gallagher has the more consistent, the smoother uptrend. So I'm going to skip this one because I only want to trade one or the other. Both are in exactly the same field. I don't want to over leverage myself. Orly, I like Orly. I think that's a monster of a stock. I think even if prices come back down again, this is a stock I would like to be exposed to. It's been going up for 1,284 trading days. Crazy. So I'm going to add this to our watch list. Entering around these price levels here, maybe at 96, anticipating that this uptrend will continue. I know we are extended, but I really enjoy this stock. So this is a really nice stock to have. And I think we can really blast off this resistance level. So I'm going to add this one as our next trade note. All right. Okay. MMC, we're going to skip Cheniere Energy. I told you I sold puts here, so I'm really hoping this is going to work out. We have this gap here to fill to the upside. So if this happens, of course, my puts would be will lose lots of their value, which is great because I'm short those puts. This is what I want to happen. So I'm going to add this one as well to our watch list. I like it. In fact, we had it before in January. When was it there? It's 231. Oh, where was that? That was a zone break retrace setup, I guess. So the stock is really a bit consolidating. Where were we there? Just quickly see. Oh, it was down here. I guess somewhere at these levels here. Okay. Yeah, I guess in January could have been an interesting bounce trade here. Now we're still in the neighborhood of things, but overall, this stock is just grinding higher. So I like my chances here with these short puts. I'm going to add also a trade note for that one. All right. Sprouts Farmers Market. We traded this one. I had this in my portfolio. I sold puts for this one as well. Worked out nicely. Prices are coming down again. I think this just screams for a rinse and repeat. Definitely. If prices even come down a bit further, even better for another long position. So let's add this one as well to our trade notes here. So you have a bit of a record of it. There we go. Oops, wrong button. Okay. Perfect. Okay, and then we have the German exchange. I like it, but I want price to come down a bit further. I'm gonna take a trade note of this anyways. I think this is a good looking symbol for a potential long entry for all the German clients among you. And SAP, looks beautiful. I love this gap here. Of course, there's a gap here too, but I think this gap is likely to be filled first. So this is likely even be our trade of the week for Monday. So I really like this one. I'm going to add it as well to our trade notes. All right. Perfect. I think a whole bunch of really interesting symbols for the week ahead. Let's see which of these ones will pan out. And now we're ready to answer some questions. Nicholas, are there any symbol requests?
Yeah, we do have some symbol requests. So let me just find the first set. I think it's VST from Gerd. And while we have that coming up, I'm going to just check some other questions. So the first one's VST.
This Trump. Yeah, let's
Robert
do a little bit of.
says, he uses the dashboard. You use the technical analysis to find options trades. Then you go place the options trade and come back here to then review to make sure, okay, are things still going along well with your initial idea based on the levels in the dashboard? He says, do you have any tips on aligning an options position with your charts here?
That's a very loaded question because it really depends on what the option situation is. So, I always ask myself the same question. So let's say we are looking for a long setup. There's typically, I mean, that's probably a way more, but to me, there's typically three ways I want to play this. Either I'm going to buy the stock outright. Either I'm going to buy calls if I have, some suspicion, hey, maybe we see a bigger drop off. I don't want to be caught into this, or I'm selling puts. And then I have the time decay in my favor, and especially if the puts are very expensive. So these are the three options typically in my book, which I asked myself how to answer this. It really depends on things on the technical setup. How stable is the uptrend? Are we aligning with lots of key technical levels? Then I wouldn't mind buying this stock outright. Are we currently very volatile? Are puts very expensive? I wouldn't mind selling puts at this point because then I have time decay in my favor. Or do we have a bit of suspicion, like with GLD? I mean, not suspicion, but lots of people are talking about this, that we may see a bigger drop in gold, like a massive correction. And I don't want to be caught into this. Maybe I'm going to buy calls, especially with a symbol like this where the volatility is so low right now. Look at the size of these bars. It's tiny. Calls will be cheap. So maybe I'll buy some out of the money calls for this one. So these are typically the questions I ask myself. And and then I make a decision. Of course, there's probably always better or worse decisions out there, but this is my approach, and this is how I think about breaking down a trade once I have a nice technical setup to decide how should I trade it. So I hope this answers this a lot, and I'm happy to discuss this. So on Tuesdays, typically we have one trade of the day which we pick, and then we have a bit of a discussion afterwards of how you can actually execute on this trade. So maybe next Tuesday, join us. And then we can perhaps break down the SAP trade if that's going to be our trade of the day or whatever symbol that would be.
Thanks, Daniel. Okay, so the symbol is VST.
Yeah.
And Stephanie had a comment, hey, Daniel makes these watch lists. It would be nice if they could be shared, and they can be shared. So the watch lists that are being made today, they will be available in your shared watch lists on the dashboard.
They should already be there. Yeah, exactly. If you open up your drop down here, on the top, there should be like a little icon called shared. I don't see it here because I'm the one sharing. But you should have a little headline here, shared, and you can see these three watch lists in there. Oh, four actually right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 ones I shared here. Okay. So Vistra, yeah, interesting one. It's bullish for a long time, right at resistance. I mean, I would not go long here at all right now. It's just right at resistance. I would wait if prices are coming down perhaps to this first MA rush line. Maybe consider a long position there, and for another leg higher up. Otherwise, wait until we break this resistance level and then consider a long position. But yeah, it's a good one.
Perfect. And the next one's AMZ.
Amazon.
No, just AMZ with no N. Just AMZ. Maybe it's a German stock.
What?
Eh,
It's AM as a mother.
yes, M as in mother, and then Z as in zebra. And at the same time, we have a question. Has this ever been tested, the
Amazon.
system on intraday trading?
Oh yeah. I mean, this system here with our bound setups and our zone break retrace setups and the pullback. Oh, absolutely. In fact, we intraday trade. This is also daily chart all the time. So Niklas, I think you posted. Actually, let me quickly go to our Discord channel here. You just posted a whole bunch of setups last week. Is that correct, Niklas?
Yeah.
I'm just
One was
quickly.
catching the nice MNQ breakout to
Yeah,
all-time highs.
let's have a quick look. Yeah, Niklas told me during the week last week, hey, I'm long MNQ. I said, oh, what? Are you crazy? It's breaking down. But no, he was right. Yeah, so if you can look at it here and in our Discord channel, let's go to the end of it here. Exactly the same indicators. This is by David here. I'm not sure if David is in the room, but this is something posted by Nicholas. You can see MA Rush on it here. You can see Liquidity IQ, the levels in here. So yeah, absolutely, we're trading this live intraday all the time. And talking about intraday, guys, we have our next live trading workshop planned for, and I hope I get the date right. I believe it's this Thursday at 9:30. If it's not Thursday, it's going to be on Wednesday. It's one of the other days. We'll announce it, of course, to all of our members. So join us there to see exactly this, how we can use these indicators to do some intraday trading.
Thanks, Dan.
Absolutely.
I guess you're right that it's just Amazon, but that's what it's called on European exchanges.
Yeah, let's just go to actual Amazon. So short bounce, we're right below resistance here for quite some time. So we're approaching resistance up here. I'll be careful as well on Amazon. So we may see a drop off this resistance level. So I would probably not go long right now. I would wait. That's my call here.
Thank you. Okay, and the next symbol is Cortana. I think no, just CORT. I don't think it's Cortana.
CORT, Concept Therapeutics, bullish for 283 trading days, long coming off support at a level 4 pullback. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, huge move up here. Not sure what happened there, but now we're back to this key support level 4 pullback on trend radar. Interesting. Just look at the trend here. Yeah, that's definitely interesting stock. Not sure what happened here on that that huge day here, but it definitely came down a long while. I don't like this gap, which is not closed yet here. So maybe if you're pessimistic, prices may bounce all the way down here. But if not, yeah, maybe it's worth by taking a shot, go long here with a target just below this resistance level here at 83, potentially.
Perfect. The next one is CNL. N like never. CNL.
Oh, CNL. Yeah, collective mining. All right. Also coming off support, also level 4 pullback, also a bullish stock. Yeah, that looks a good one too. Looks like we're on a sideways consolidation. I like the fact that, yeah, I think this consolidation is definitely in play here, but I like the fact that this is our first and only support level. So it's not the case where I have like multiple support levels underneath. So that gives this level here some extra strength. And yeah, it might be an interesting idea to potentially play this alongside off the support level for a move towards perhaps at least around 1050, maybe even 1150 up here. Good one.
Thank you. The next one's KLAC. Clack.
KL
Yeah,
Clock.
KLAC.
Clock Corporation. All right, bullish for 664 trading days, currently pulling back as per trend radar. Let's have a look. All right, yeah, we broke above resistance here. It's kind of the zone break retrace setup we're seeing here. Yeah, it's just very volatile. Not And the fact that we just broke above this key, an all-time high here from July 24th, then we broke above it. Now coming back down, it didn't completely hold up. We went a bit lower. Now we're right here. I'm always worried about these stocks that we will see a deeper correction down to potentially this level. So I would potentially probably wait to see what's going on from this level. maybe this gap here might be filled. You can see it here a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting stock. I personally would wait for price to come down a little bit further before considering a long position.
Thank you, Daniel. The next symbol is Nike. And Ed wants to know, how do you explain the resistance and support zone so far away from the stock movement, so far above? He doesn't think he's ever seen that before.
On which stock is that? On Nike?
NKE, yeah. How do you explain the
Oh,
NKE chart with support and resistance so far above the stock movement?
yeah. Well, it's only the ones which are highlighted here, but there are actually some other support levels relatively close by too. So what you can see here, if you look closely, you have one support level here, this little red line, and then one another one down here. What our indicator does, it just looks in terms of proximity and highlights the one which are closest to price right now, but you can see definitely some levels down here as well. And yeah, so this used to be a support level down back here. Of course, Nike has been in a downtrend for quite some time. This was support back here. We had actually a very nice bounce off it. Then it broke. It reversed roles. Support became resistance. We went all the way down, came back up here. This is now resistance. We bounced off, and prices are now coming back up again. And think about this level here as resistance, because this is broken support. This is definitely acting as resistance right now. So I have two resistance levels just on top of us. And to me, that's a fairly bearish setup in Nike, especially since you look at the overall trend as well. Since when I've been going down here in Nike, let me see, trend. Emmy Rush is showing us bearish momentum since 2022 in Nike. So yeah, if anything, I would buy perhaps puts at this point here, betting on the fact that we're going to bounce off this level towards lower levels. Look at all these lower highs here and some lower lows. So it definitely looks very bearish, Nike, from a technical point of view.
Yeah. And yes, Leon, it does work with futures markets. You can scan for some futures symbols to look for longer term setups here on the dashboard. And like we
Yeah.
mentioned, we use it for intraday trading futures all the time. LNG.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
Lenny
that's Shinya.
says,
That's the one I have, right?
yeah,
Yep.
he says he's confused. This is a bearish trade, doesn't understand why it's a bearish trade.
Oh no, it's not. It's a bullish trade. I said I sold puts. So I sold cash secure puts. So if you buy a put, that's a bearish trade. But I'm selling a put. So that's a bullish setup. And that's what I did here on this day. And why did I sell puts? Because they were very high priced.
And
They
what's
were
your
expensive.
expiration on that, Daniel?
Oh, it was short. It was August 21st. So when I'm selling puts, I always use a fairly short expiration because I want time decay to kick in right away. Because these puts will lose value, which is what I want. Because I sold them, I short sold them. So I want time decay to kick in right away, and if the expiration is fairly nearby, time decay will get stronger and stronger every coming day. So that was my thinking.
Thank you. And one before we go to the next symbol, which will be SMR. We have a question from Deborah. How do you decide if you're going to sell puts, buy calls, or just buy shares outright on
Yeah,
these long setups?
it really depends on the case. And Deborah, join us on Tuesday. I think this question has been asked for a few times, where we can take our trade of the day that we're gonna call out on Tuesday, and then we dissect it. And we'll together discuss what are the different options to trade it. And it really depends on the situation, like how expensive are puts right now relative to the stock price. So if they're very expensive, maybe I want to sell them, because that's, when you are selling short, you want to sell high and buy low. That's the idea. If puts and calls are very cheap, maybe it's better to buy calls, have some extra protection, because all I can lose is the premium. Or maybe perhaps if option pricing is very high, or I want to collect dividends right away, or whatever it might be, then I maybe buy the stock right away. So lots of different factors that play in there. And you know, oftentimes there is no perfect answer. There's many good answers, not a perfect one. And in the end, just as long as you are comfortable with it and you went through the thinking process, you just didn't do something ad hoc, I think that's already a step definitely in the right direction. Because nobody has all the the answers, and there's probably good arguments for and against many different trade ideas.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. The next one's SMR.
Yeah. Oh, new scale. We just had this one, I believe. One of our beautiful calls back here. Yeah, I like it. It's super bullish, very extended now. So I would perhaps wait for another retracement back to this level here at least, and then consider longs. But yeah, that was a thing of beauty. When we came down to this broken resistance level here. So we broke above this former resistance level, this green line here, up, now down again to this level. And this is when we called out this entry. Worked out beautifully. Yeah, I like this symbol a lot.
Thank you. And can you please take a look at CI?
Yeah. CI. All right. Okay. Signia group. We had this also long bounce. Yeah, just chilling down here. And we definitely had this one on our list. Let me see this when we called this one out. Oh, okay, that was not a useful comment here. I'm not sure. I think we had this one our horizon at some point. Let me just have a quick look. Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. Yeah, we're definitely coming off support here. It's just not the best uptrend. There's not really a symbol I like to trade. I mean, definitely we're bullish, which is good, but not a good bullish trend. Just very recent. Before this, we've been quite bearish. I personally would stay away from it. I think we have that better stocks to trade.
Thank you. And the next one is TRUP.
TRUP, Trupanion Inc. Bullish for 228 trading days, a level 3 pullback, and in between support and resistance. Let's check it out. Another insurance company. Yeah, we're right in the middle of this resistance level here and this support level down here. Coming off this ME rush line, let me just see what the trend is. Yeah, I mean, I have a gap down here. Also not my cup of tea. I don't like the fact that we lost this intermediate resistance level here, which could have acted as support, this level down here. It didn't. We lost it. We went below it now. But it may still act as resistance again now when we come back up. So that's a big a flag here. And well, the good news is we're coming off this first ME rush line. So that's potentially acting as support now here. But then again, our upside target is not that high. This is definitely a very strong resistance level up here at 57. Prices sharply bounced off this level before. I personally, once again, would not trade it, especially if these gaps looming down here, which are screaming to get filled.
Thank you, Daniel. And the next one's going to be Roblox. I haven't seen that in a while. RBLX.
Yes. All right, bullish for 253 trading days, long or above resistance for 50 trading days, and then level 1 pullback. Oh boy. Yes. Yeah, we broke above resistance here, and we haven't looked back since. So here we actually had never an opportunity for a retracement. And, yeah, and if somebody entered on this particular zone break here, congratulations. Perfect play of a zone break. But yeah, no retracement whatsoever. That's crazy. Entering now up here, probably not either. Too expensive for my taste. It's not the setups I'm looking for, but definitely a nice bullish move for sure. But maybe a pullback down to this level, this ME rush level here at least, when it comes, and then enter long. But right now, the air is too thin up there.
Thank you, Daniel. And the next one's going to be just Tesla.
Yes, good old Tesla. In a magnet zone. All right, for 12 trading days. Okay. Yeah, in between this support level down here. It's not the lowest one. Now we came off this this big drop in Tesla off this level here at 215. Now the next support level is here at 272, and we're right in the middle in between this level and the one up here. Trend is bearish. No, it's still bullish. Oh, look how MA Rush kept us in this long trade, huh? I think it's Tesla. I have a feeling it's gonna attack at the minimum this level up here and then maybe even go higher. So to me, still an interesting opportunity for a long-term trade in Tesla, mainly for fundamental reasons in Tesla. I think that's a player which will be around for quite some time, despite all the talk and the tension between Musk and Trump. I think that from a fundamental point of view, in terms of what Tesla is doing and the industries it's investing in, which is far beyond just a car manufacturer, is definitely appealing. So yeah, but from a technical point of view, you're in quite a bit of a tight range here. So maybe a move towards this level is definitely in the picture, 256, but we see a bounce off this resistance level. But long term, I think it could be a good idea.
The next one, Daniel, is going to be IMO.
IMO, okay. Imperial Oil Limited. Oh, very bullish for 1,147 trading days. Finally broke off this consolidation pattern. I can see a wide consolidation after these highs here, like in the sideways channel. Finally broke above it. Yeah, but still in this resistance level. So I would not trust it fully yet, but it's definitely a bullish symbol. If we see a bit of a deeper pullback, I could be very interested. And I think this sounds like a stock which also pays a nice dividend, even though it's quite expensive. Let me just quickly see what the dividends are saying on the stock. Dividend yield, 2.53%. Not too bad for a stock which has been trending up for such a long time. Typically, you only see these big dividend yields for stocks which are actually a downtrend. Keyword Pfizer. Pfizer, of course, has been going down. 6.94% dividend yield for a stock. And this is often for stocks where the price has been declining for quite some time, but the company itself is still in a luxurious position to pay dividends. So you see these big yields here. And for a long-term investment, these stocks could be of interest as well. All right, and maybe one or two more symbols, Niklas, before we wrap up.
Sure. The next one is NEM.
Yeah.
N like never, and then EM like mother.
Yeah, Newmont Corporation. All right. A gold industry. Yeah. Okay, let's see what's going on. We did break above resistance. Of a little gap down here. Yeah, I mean, I think I would be careful. We're quite extended here. Wait for at least these two gaps or this gap here to be filled before entering long. But it's definitely a nice long break, but I'd wait for a bit of a correction and then potentially enter long for this one here. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one, I'm just going to double check, make sure that I'm not getting it from someone who we've already taken from before. No, is this one from Aubrey, GGAL.
GGAL. This is another South American stock.
South American bank, yeah.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Aubrey. I was missing it already. So a stock which is in the magnet zone, meaning in between support and resistance. Bullish for 641 trading days and currently on a level 3 pullback, but a bearish pullback. So as you can see, the long-term trend in Rush is down. So Rush thinks this is just a pullback in that downtrend, and then this downtrend may continue. But let me just zoom out a little bit. Yeah, but in fact, it's interesting. I personally would wait, but then again, I'm very conservative for prices to come down once again to this level here, 46, a bit closer to the support level, and then enter potentially long. That's how I would play it. To me, it looks a little bit like this is just a pullback of this downtrend here, like up here, and then we see another leg, maybe towards this level, and then I would enter long. But that's my feel for the stock. Otherwise, it's definitely an interesting one. Aubrey has been spot on with these South American stocks for quite some time. So, yeah. All right. Great. Perfect. I'm going to put my slides back on for just one quick moment. So quick reminder, if you don't have the ebook yet, it's tradingindicators.com/power-of-3. And of course, if you are interested in our great Liquidity View dashboard, which will give you setups every day new setups will come in, then check it out at tradingindicators.com/view. Nicholas, please put this link one more time into the chat. Try it out for 1 week free. No contracts, no obligations. You can cancel at any time to check it out. And of course, on Monday, and we're going to discuss it on Tuesday, there will be a small surprise for everyone who is on board for this dashboard. A new feature will be added. All right, guys, with this, I wish you all a great weekend. Thank you so much for spending these 1.5 hours with me. Taking time out of your weekends. It's really humbling to us. So thank you so much. I hope you got something out of it. And then we'll see you all on Tuesday at our Lunch and Learn session. And we have our live trading workshop, I believe, on Thursday at 9:30 a.m. With this, guys, Enjoy your weekend off, your days off, and talk to you soon. Thanks, Niklas. Bye bye, guys.